Testing sound. Nice work, Maria. No worries, lol lols. Yep, only a few more days. Hope you guys have been practicing enough. It's pretty much the whole country ultimate. There's either Tuesday or Thursday. All right, guys, it's 9 o'clock, so let's get started. So I know that a few people have been asking for inequality questions. So what I've done is I've got about 10 questions today. So these are the questions I'm going to be working in this particular session. So I'll just kind of go through just the basic ideas of it. So we've got fractions. I'll mix it up with some fractions and inequalities. All right, so some of them you've got to write them as a single fraction. Some of them you actually have to solve. Now, I've deliberately left solving fractions out because if you can actually do inequalities, you're kind of covering yourself with solving questions with fractions as well. All right, so this is what we're looking at today. And ultimately, we should be, by the end of this session, is that we should be able to be comfortable with doing with a question like number 10. Muhammad, I'm really not sure, man, because like I know a few years they said that they were going to convert all the questions into word question, and then last year they really surprised us. Last 2 years, so they still come up with a good mixture of word questions and what do you call it? Kind of like skills questions. Usually what happens is that you've actually got to do if you pass the MCAT, depending on what you need, we strongly recommend that if you get a merit, level 2 maths becomes a little bit more easier with doing calculus and algebra. But in saying that, I've also worked with kids that have actually failed the MCAT but still managed to get very close to a merit at level 2 algebra. That's because the questions in level 1 MCAT are like sometimes it's just complicated. Simp fly fly. I just realized my mistake. Sorry. There we go. Let me change that. Simplify. Sorry, Mr. Cloak. Okay, so let's get started, guys. Now, question 1 here. Let me just see how the space is going to work today. So the reason I've kind of started with this particular question is because normally what happens is when people actually see this type of question, they always tend to do this upside down barbecue. I don't know where people get it from, but it's basically they do things like this where they kind of do this cross multiplication. Now, while that's all good and done, it actually works out real nicely. It doesn't help you guys in the long run. All right, and so I don't actually work with it like that. So what I teach is like this. How I go about it is this. So I got x over 3 and x over 9 is equal to 8. Now, if you guys want to go ahead and just kind of do these questions on your own, you can actually get in the description below, there's a notebook. And if you click on that notebook link, you can actually go and find where these questions are. And it does get updated live, so you guys can actually catch up with it. no Lockie, it'll be 2a over 3. So anyway, let's get back to this question here. So what we have is, we've got, the way I look at it is like I look at the denominators. At the moment, my denominator is 3 and it's 9. So when you do the upside down method, what happens is that you're actually making the problem a lot more bigger for yourself. But in this case, I can see that, especially on the left-hand side, that this 3 here, I need to change this into a 9. And if I want to change it into a 9, what I need to do is multiply by 3 in the denominator, and also I got to multiply by 3 in the numerator. Yeah, so once we do that, what we get is 3 times x, which is 3x over 9, plus 1x over 9 equals 8. Now, because both of these denominators are the same, we can put them together, and we're going to get 3x plus x over 9 equals 8. And then we've got 4x over 9 equals 8. Rearranging this, so we'll bring the 9 over across, where it's going to become 8 times 9. And then we can say x is equal to 8 times 9 divided by 4. Now, there's a particular reason why I haven't actually done 8 times 9. Because if you do 8 times 9, you get 72. 72 divided by 4, unless you're really good with your times table, you might have some difficulties with it. But what you could do, though, is by writing it like this, you could actually get rid of the 8 and 4, because 8 divided by 4 is 2. So if I cancel 8 divided by 4 is 2, and I can just replace that with 2. And by doing this, I get x is equal to 2 times 9, which is equal to 18. And if you remember, or actually not remember, if you actually do this the other way, where 8 times 9 is 72, 72 divided by 4 is going to be 18 as well. All right, guys, so that was kind of like a easy start to kind of get you guys going in that direction. So what I would like you guys to do is with question number 2, and I know I've actually put a inequality sign in there. I want you guys to actually give it a go. All right, I'm going to give you guys about, I know it'll take you about 2 minutes to do, but I'm going to give you guys about 30 seconds to try and do question number 2 on your own by yourself. About 30-40 seconds. Sure things, Mohammed. I'll try, because I do have about 10 questions to get through. But don't worry, this video will be available on, like, I think after I finish the tutorial, it will be shared on the website. I mean, on the website, it'll be uploaded to YouTube. Ultimate, are you talking about number 2? Jonathan, I can't actually do the MCAT mock exam, man, so all right, Sarah, I'm gonna, since you got the answer, I'm assuming I'll actually go through this question. Yeah, Jonathan, like, if you guys send screenshots of questions, I can do it, but I can't actually do the whole paper on its own because, yeah, long story. But anyway, let's go through with question number 2. So ultimate, what you needed to do was actually make the denominators the same. So because we've got 9 and 4, and the lowest common multiple, that one, it's going to be 36. So what I got to do is I'm going to write down x over 9 minus x over 4. And I'm going to give a little bit of room for it. So I'm going to multiply the left-hand side with the denominator by 4 and the numerator by 4. And for the x over 4, I'm going to multiply by 9 in the denominator and the numerator also by 9. Okay, so once I do this, what I get is 4 times x, which is 4x over 36, minus x times 9 is 9x over 36, and then this is less than or equal to 8. And now what we have is 4x minus 9x, which is equal to negative 5x over 36. I do apologize, guys, if the numbers are a bit ugly, because I kind of was just writing up the questions before. So it's less than or equal to 8. I don't think you'll get this ugly, these numbers. So what we have is negative 5x is less than or equal to 8 times 36. And of course 8 times 36, what do we got? A good way to do it, 360 minus 72, so it's 288. As I said to you guys before, this question I just made up on the spot, so the number is very ugly, but in your MCAT your numbers should be a lot more simpler. So we've got negative 5x is less than or equal to 288, and remember that the only time you actually switch the symbol is when you actually divide by a negative number. So here I'm actually dividing by negative 5. So because I'm dividing by negative 5, I need to switch the symbol to the opposite way. And of course, I don't want to leave negative sign at the bottom. Just kind of put it at the top as negative 288 over 5. Okay, so that's question 2. Is there any questions on that, guys? Sorry, I should have actually put question 3 so you guys can see it. So there we go. That's question number 2. Yeah, Sarah, it should be all right, but it's just in maths we generally put the negative symbol at the top, but you can actually leave it like that. There's nothing wrong with it. See, I knew somebody was gonna do this whole cross multiplication. Good question, Mohammed, for number 3, whether we're gonna cross multiply. But I'm gonna show you guys how not to do it without cross multiplication. Okay. And I'll actually show you guys both ways of doing this, all right? If you cross multiply, what happens is this. So 5 times 2x, I'm just going to do that in the side here, 5 times 2x plus 1 times x over 2 times x, 2x times x, which is 2x squared. So you end up getting something like this, 10x plus x over 2x squared. Now, if you had done this whole upside down barbecue thing that people talk about, or cross multiplication, this answer is not fully simplified. So you've actually got to do one more extra step. That's why I don't recommend learning this method. So I actually show the other method earlier. So in other words, if I look at my denominators right now, I've got x here and I've got 2x here. So if it's x and 2x, then all I've got to do is this, 5 over x plus 1 over 2x. And the only thing I need to do is I need to change this x into 2x. And to do that, I need to multiply by 2 in the denominator, and I multiply by 2 in the numerator. And when I do this, I get 5 times 2, which is 10, over 2x, plus 1 over 2x, and then I can combine this 10 plus 1 over 2x, which is just 11 over 2x. That's it, to write as a single fraction. So based on that idea, guys, can I get you guys to try question number 4? And I'll answer a few questions on the side. Okay, ultimate, when we're supposed to flip the less than and greater than signs. The only time you actually change the symbol for less than or greater than, I'm talking about here, I'm just going to highlight it in this part right here, is when you actually divide by a negative number. Okay, if you divide by a positive number, you just leave the symbol, you just treat the less than or equal sign, or less than, whatever the inequality is, you just treat it as an equal sign. But the only time you change it is when the number is actually divided by a negative. Yes, Muhammad, that's exactly what you do. I should have given you guys a little bit harder question than that one, but it's all right. Zayden, you cannot change the 2x to x. Book it. What doesn't make sense? It's just an expression, book it. It's nothing what it, it's just the way it is, that's all. All right, I'm gonna do question number 4 here. So same idea as what we did with question number 3. We've got 5 over x, 1 minus 2x, greater than or equal to 4. So we wanna convert this x into 2x. So what we're going to do is over 2 and over 2. Sorry, 1 second. When cross multiply, does the order in which you add the numerator matter? As in 5x times 2x is first, then you add 2x. Jonathan, I would actually stay away from cross multiplication, man, because it just gets a lot more complicated later on. So try this method that try making the denominator the same. Okay, so what we've got is 10 over 2x minus 1 over 2x is greater than or equal to 4. And then we've got 9 over 2x is greater than or equal to 4. So the only thing I need to do is I need to rearrange x by itself. So I'm going to leave the 2 where it is, and I'm just going to move the x. So it's going to end up looking like this. 9 over 2 is greater than or equal to 4x. And then from here I can shift the 4 back to the left hand side. So I'm going to get 9 over 2 times 4, which is greater than or equal to x, which means I'm going to get 9 over 8, which is greater than or equal to x. That's what I got. Yep. Yeah, that was a pretty easy one. All right, so let's go to question number 5. And this time with question number 5, we're actually trying to put it together as one equation. So write it as a single fraction. And as always, guys, while you guys trying to have a crack at that question, I'll just answer if there's any questions on the side here. Julia, check out, I've put a link in the description for this. There's an MCAT playlist, and I think if you go there, there is, what was it? One of the, which one was it? The MCAT prep playlist. There's heaps of simultaneous equations in there. You just got to go through the questions. Ultimate, we don't need to move the 2x because we just needed to move the x. Ooh, awesome. We've got like 3 different answers already popping up. So what was that previous one? 9 over 2x or greater than or equal to 4. So basically, ultimate, have a look here while these guys are working on this question. So if I had 9 over 2x is greater than or equal to 4, you could have still done that as well. And you would get 4 times 2x, which is 8x. And then 9 over 8 is greater than or equal to x. No, Jacob, I think he was talking about a practice exam. These ones, they're a combination here, Mohammed, at the moment. I'm mixing it up between achieved and merit questions. Is that still the same answer because I did that? Yeah, as long as you get 9 over 8 ultimate, you're good to go, man. Okay, guys, so let's go to question number 5 here. So question number 5, what you have is you've got a expression and then a fraction. Now this is sometimes it pops up like this, but just remember, this is a little trick that I have, is that with any time you get a number and you want to add a fraction, what you could do is just rewrite x plus 2 as something like this. Let me show you guys. You can actually rewrite this as x plus 2 plus x minus 1 over 5. But remember that any number has actually got 1 as its as a denominator of 1. Sarah, I think I don't know, I just Google around and just see if there's any questions for inequalities. Mainly they use words like at most or at least. That's what, or more than, less than. And I think I talked about it last time, but yeah, that's what they end up doing. So again, you could actually cross multiply in this, Mohammed, because it does work. But yeah, you don't, like, what do I say? Yeah, you could cross multiply. It still would work. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply by 5 in the denominator and numerator by 5, because I want to change this 1 into a 5. So remember that you've got to actually do 5 times x plus 2, which means you've got to do 5 times x plus 2 in a bracket, because it's actually getting multiplied. The 5 is getting multiplied by x and 2. And this is over 5 plus x minus 1 over 5. So what you're going to get is 5 times x, which is 5x, 5 times 2, which is 10, and we've got plus x minus 1, and the whole thing is now divided by 5. Oh, welcome, Aliana. You haven't missed much. So simplifying this, we get 6x plus 9 over 5. Yep, good on you, Ultimate. Question 6 is x greater than or equal to 16.5. We'll figure it out, Satan. So guys, now what I'd like you to do is try question 6. If there's any questions on question 5, I don't mind answering some questions. Okay, so question 5 is good. So we're going to go to question 6, and I'm going to leave question 7 up there as well. So question 6. What do we got? We got people with 16.5 and 33 over 2. That's so true, Nano. That's so true. Okay, so I'm going to do question 6 here. So we've got x plus 2. So I'm going to rewrite this as x plus 2 over 1, as always. And then I've got minus 2x plus 1 over 4 is less than or equal to 10. Now, this is cool because I'm expecting people to get a few mistakes here and there for this one. So again, we want to convert that 1 into a 4. So we're going to multiply the new denominator by 4. And we're going to multiply the numerator by 4. And also remember, you've got to put that bracket around x plus 2. Zayden, that's actually a good strategy, man, because the thing is, you know, you cover a lot of achieved in merit questions and excellence questions. So that's why it's really good to try the excellence questions. And that's why even like towards the end, maybe in about a couple of sessions, I'll start only looking at really like excellence questions so people can just kind of get into it and just do it. But anyway, let's get on with this question. We've got 4 times x, which is 4x, 4 times 2, which is 8, and then that's divided by 4 minus 2x plus 1 over 4 is less than or equal to 10. Now, there's one little thing that you guys need to notice, and this is probably if you know, let's just say you just come into this tutorial and you know, you're like kind of like drifting to things, but if there's one thing that I can ask you guys to remember is this: when you're dealing with fractions, especially in the MCAT paper, I've always seen them throw this minus. Now this minus has an impact on what your answer is going to be, because this minus, when we actually write it up in one single fraction, it'll make sense. Because what happens is when you write it as a fraction, you write it like this: 4x plus 8 minus 2x plus 1, and the whole thing is over 4, which is less than or equal to 10. But here is the kicker: you have to put a bracket around the 2x plus 1, especially when you have a minus in front of that, next to that fraction. All right? Because I've seen so many people forget about that minus and they end up getting the wrong answer. So what this means is now this is going to become 4x plus 8. Negative minus times 2x becomes negative 2x, and then minus times positive 1 will become minus 1. And all of this is over 4, which is less than or equal to 10. And now combining things, we're going to get 4x plus 7 over 4 is less than or equal to 10. Now it's a minus there, Ultimate. You forgot to look at that minus. That's why you've got a 6x plus 9. So once we do this, we've got 4x plus 7 is less than or equal to 10 multiplied by 4. And so we've got 4x is less than or equal to... What have I missed out here? I've missed out something. I made a mistake here. Where have I made a mistake? I know where my mistake is. Sorry, guys. That should have been 2x. Yeah. Got it. So we've got 2x plus 7 is less than or equal to 40. And then 2x is less than or equal to 40. Take away 7. And then 2x is less than or equal to 33. X is less than or equal to 33 over 2. So Ultimate, you asked me earlier when we actually switch symbols. In this case, we don't actually change the symbol because we're dividing by the positive 2 there. Thank you, Braith. Yeah, I got it, guys. I got it. Man, I make one mistake and the whole people go mental here. Okay, so let's, I'll put up the next question, guys, and then if you have any questions on that, I'll answer. But we're doing number 7, where we're going to write it as a single fraction. There's a negative sign on top and the bottom. Wait. What do you, I'm trying to understand your question here, Sarah. So, okay, while you guys look at number 7, I'm just going to quickly on the side here just answer Sarah's question. So do you mean, Sarah, by like this, if you have a negative sign on top divided by -1, do you flip the sign, then remove both the negative signs? (19x minus) Oh, no. Look, if your final answer, like say for example, okay, let me just, are you talking about something like this? If -8x is less than -5. So if this was the case, right, what you would do is you would go, x is, because you're dividing by a negative symbol, you got to change that sign. And then once you change that sign, you can get rid of the 2 negative signs and replace it with just positive. Okay, so hopefully that made sense there, Sarah. Forgot the denominator, Nano. Sweet. Okay, let's go to number 7 here. So 7, what we're going to do is find out what our, what do you call it? Lowest common multiple is. So between 3 and 2, we've got 6. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply the 2 here with the 3 for the denominator and the numerator by 3, but make sure I put 7x minus 1 in a bracket. And the same thing with 3, so I'm going to multiply it by 2 in the denominator and the numerator by 2, and also make sure I put a bracket around it. SKK Gaming, I would probably will be, but at the moment I'm just focusing on level 1 MCAT because I know they've got their exam next week. So once they finish MCAT, I'll probably go back to what do you call it, level 3 materials. Ultimate. So what you can do, Ultimate, just remember, I did say to you, like, there is a link on the description called Notebook. If you click on the Notebook, it's going to take you to this place here, and just click on Tutorials Level 1. And I think today's tutorial is like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the 6th one, and then you can get all the materials, mate. So you can actually just have another tab open if you want to just check it out. All right, I'm going to go back to question 7 here. So we've got 3 times, well, actually I'm going to write it all down in a, just like this. So 3 times 7x minus 1 minus 2 times x minus 1, and the whole thing is divided by 6. So we got 3 times 7x is 21x, 3 times -1 is -3, minus 2 times x is minus 2x, minus 2 times -1 is plus 2. So remember, I told you guys, when you have a negative with a fraction, you always got to try and put the things in brackets. And of course, this is all over 6. So we got 21x minus 2x, which is 19x. And then we've got -3 plus 2, which is equal to -1 over 6. No worries. Zayden, of course it's going to be easy, man, because you've been like working these questions for like so long. So anyway, don't worry. If you guys want a really tough one, I've got a few down there. Yeah, I've got a few down. I mean, I can make it more tougher. That's why I've only stopped at 10. Guys, I hope you haven't actually started with number 8. If you have, I'm sorry. I'm just going to change something in number 8 just to make things a little bit more interesting. I'm going to change that 3. Let's actually make that to something like a 7. Ava Chips, yo, it's not a problem. Funnily enough, in my school, we actually don't do the MCAT. So I don't actually teach any of these guys apart from in YouTube. Zanzun, I will actually, if you send me that question, Zanzun, to my Facebook page, I will do it as a viewer question, okay? So I'm just going to focus on these inequalities today, but definitely can do that question for you. No probs, Ultimate. Okay, guys, shall we get through number 8? Red sector, what is he on? Where's the previous comment? How do you know whether a question should be solved with quadratic, as the word problems are really confusing? Red sector, I've actually put there's a link on the description called the MCAT playlist. In there, there's a whole lot of prep questions. There's a lot of word questions there for you to actually have a go through. TAP, I'm not sure what happens with Cambridge. Unfortunately, I've never taught Cambridge. All right, guys. Anyway, let's go to number 8. 8, what we have is, I did change the question for you guys because I just wanted to see whether some crazy stuff will happen, and I can already see Nano, you might want to go check your working again. There's a reason I changed that number, but let's actually go through number 8 now, guys. So between 7 and 2, we know 14 is the lowest common multiple. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to rewrite this whole fraction. So I've got, for the 7, I'm going to multiply by 2 in the denominator and the numerator by 2. And I'm going to make sure I put 4x minus 1 around a bracket. And then the next thing is, remember that there's a minus here, so you got to be mindful of that. Also, convert the 2 in the denominator. I'm going to multiply this by 7 and the numerator by 7, but make sure I put a bracket around the 2x plus 3. So now I'm going to write everything in the numerator as is. So I'm going to get 2 times 4x minus 1 minus 7 times 2x plus 3. And the whole thing is now divided by 14, which is also less than or equal to 5. So now expand the brackets. So we got 2 times 4x, which is 8x. 2 times negative 1 is negative 2, minus 7 times 2x. Remember that minus I talked to you guys about. That actually is going to be the whole thing. So minus 7 times 2x is minus 14x. And then minus 7 times 3 is negative 21. And this whole thing is over 14, which is also less than or equal to 5. So now we collect our like terms. So we've got 8 minus 14x, which is negative 6x. And then negative 2 minus 21 is negative 23, which is over 14 and less than or equal to 5. Nice, red sector, you're nearly there. Just keep going, man. So now I'm going to bring the 14 across to the right-hand side, which means I'm going to get negative 6x minus 23 is less than or equal to 5 multiplied by 14. So I've got negative 6x minus 23 is less than or equal to 5 times 14 is 70. And then rearranging the 23 to the other side, I'm going to get 70 plus 23. Which means I got negative 6x is less than or equal to 93. And then I can say that x is 93 divided by negative 6. And of course, I'm dividing by a negative number, so I've got to switch the symbol to greater than or equal to. Now, I know some people actually asked, well, I know Sarah, you've actually put it as 31 over negative 2. You can simplify it further, guys, because it is divisible by 3, so we can actually write it as negative 31 over 2 or negative 15.5. Right, the reason it's negative 6x is because you've got 8x minus 14x, which equals to negative 6x. Oh, you're talking about here. No, here I'm actually dividing by that whole negative 6. So because I want to take that negative symbol across as well. Okay, nice work, team. Are we happy with this question? Should we go to the next one? Roger that. If it was negative 6 by itself, it would change to 6. Okay, so just kind of, let's go a little bit easy with number 9. Shall we go complicated? The Facebook link doesn't work. Why is that? I think I know why. Give me a second, guys. I'll just fix it up. Yeah, number 9 should be fairly easy for you guys right now. So if you guys just work on it, I'll just quickly fix the Facebook link. Oh, I see what's happened. Bloody dots. Okay. Let's see if that link is there now. Yeah, it should work now. All right, guys, let's do this question real quickly, all right? Because I want to get to question 10, and then I'm going to throw a couple of curveballs at you guys. So we've got x over 2 plus x plus 3 over 3. So remember that we've got 6 as a common factor, so multiply by 3 in the denominator, numerator by 3. And as for this case, we're going to multiply by 2 in the denominator and numerator by 2. So what we have is we've got 3x plus 2 times x plus 3 all over 6, and this is equal to 5. So simplifying this, or expanding it actually, we got 3x plus 2 times x plus 2 times 3, which is 6, and the whole thing is over 6, which equals to 5. And we've got 5x plus 6 over 6 equals to 5. Take the 6 across, and we're going to get 5 multiplied by 6, which means we're going to get 5x plus 6 is equal to 30. And then 5x equals 30, take away 6. And we've got 5x equals 24. So we can kind of say x is equal to 24 over 5 as our final answer. Now I know some of you guys have actually done it in decimals. You can actually just leave it as 24 over 5 as well. That's absolutely fine. All right, so let's get to question number 10, and then, am I wrong? Am I red sector? Nah, you're fine, mate. 24 over 5 is all good. Okay, number 10 is what I would like you guys to try right now. I'm actually kind of making it a bit more bigger now. You guys using a calculator? Now, Ultimate, you're not allowed to use a calculator. So, but some people just, if you know your decimals, you're all good. AJ, yes, I do live near the airport. It's annoying at times. Regan, I teach at Ormiston Senior College. So guys, have a go at number 10, and then after that I'm going to throw a curveball at you for number 11. I might just give you guys a couple of minutes for this one because I know there's a lot happening here at the moment. Tao 999. In the description below there's a notebook. If you click on that notebook, you can actually get access to all my notes, so you don't actually need to screenshot, man. It's all there. I'll actually send you the link again. This is the link. So go to this link, Tao, and you'll get all my notes, and it gets updated live, so you can actually watch it. Sorry, the 4x minus times red sector, the 4x is actually on top in the numerator like this. Yeah, sorry guys, just quick rush. Nice. For Aliana, is this for level 1? Oh, no worries, Ashford. You're welcome, man. I'm sure you did most of the work. Your infinite, can I get one level 2 calc question when you throw those curveballs? Fine, Nano, here you go. Tell me this is just for Nano, calculus question. There you go, just for you, Nano. You might need to remember the question because I'm going to delete it very soon. Okay, hope you got it, man. Okay, guys, so let's go through number 10 here. So number 10, and I know I'm probably saying that this question here, I don't think I've seen it at level 1. It is a level 2 question, but then knowing MCAT guys, they sometimes like to throw like a couple of level 2 questions in there just to kind of make us a bit worried, but it's all right. If you guys have been following this tutorial right now, trust me, you can actually do this. Ultimate, you're nearly there, man. Just got to cross multiply. So I'm going to do this right now, guys. We've got x plus 3 over 2 and 4x minus 1. So I'm just going to write that down first. Equals x plus 2 over 5. Now 3 and 2, we've got 6 as the common denominator. So I'm going to multiply next to the 2 but the denominator by 3 and the numerator by 3. Make sure I put the bracket around it. Also with the 3 now, I got to multiply the denominator by 2 and the numerator by 2 and make sure I put a bracket around 4x minus 1. So when we do this, we're going to get 3 times x plus 3 minus 2 times 4x minus 1 and the whole thing over 6, which equals to x plus 2 over 5. And remember again, we've got this minus 2 there, so that's going to have to, you've got to remember that minus 2, all right? It's going to have a part to play. So we got 3 times x, which is 3x, 3 times 3, which is 9, minus 2 times 4x, which is minus 8x, and minus 2 times 1, which is plus 2. And all of this is over 6, which equals x plus 2 over 5. So once we do this, we're going to get negative 5x plus 11 over 6 equals x plus 2 over 5. Now, when you guys get to this stage, this part you have to actually cross multiply, because remember, you could actually take the 6 over here and the 5 actually comes on to the numerator on this side. So what it ends up looking like, it ends up looking like this. 5 multiplied by negative 5x plus 11 equals 6 multiplied by x plus 2. Now this is something you guys need to know. The only time you can actually do this is when you have one fraction equal to another fraction. So say for example, you have something like this on the side here. I'm just going to do this on the side just to show you guys. If you have like x over 2 equals, I don't know, 3x over 4, for example, then we can cross multiply this and we can write this as, I'm going to put another 1 here, equals 2 times 3x plus 1. You can do it like this. However, if the question looked like this, x over 2 equals 3x plus 1 over 4 plus 2, say for example. In this case, you cannot actually do cross multiplication. It doesn't work, okay? So the only time you can do cross multiplication is when you have a fraction which equals another fraction like this. So really important to know that, guys. Okay, so I'm going to go back to this question now and just get rid of this side notes here, which we really don't need. So hopefully you guys got that. And then now we've got 5 times negative 5x is negative 25x. 5 times 11 is 55. And then we've got 6 times x, which is 6x. 6 times 2, which is 12. So rearrange everything. So we get negative 25x. 6x, when it comes to the left-hand side, it's minus 6x equals 12. And then we've got 55, which comes over to the right-hand side is minus 55. And so what we get is negative 31x equals 12 minus 55, which is 43. And then our final answer is x is equal to negative 43 divided by negative 31. And because we've got two negative symbols, we can just leave that as 43 over 31. All right, just going through the chat section, guys. Increasing annexes. Oh, calc answer. I haven't actually looked at it, Ashford. Sorry. Red sector. Past papers are all done in a video, man. So just it's in the description. If you go there, you'll actually get a link to all the past papers. Grumple, I'm sorry that you didn't get better marks, but hopefully you get better marks in the real one. Red sector, it's a bit what do you call it, man? It's like all the questions I've actually done, like all the streams for the worked answers. Zayden, I think what you're realizing is that the questions are whoa, there's a lot of comments. Jeez, I missed a whole lot. Hang on. Yeah, mate, like look, as you start doing the questions, things will become a lot more easier. Did the level 2 probably to your side. I didn't have a calculator on me. It's minus. Plus 2, 1. Yeah, thanks Nano and Ashford. I would prefer it if you guys keep your chat outside because it's just a bit hard to keep track of all the comments here. Sarah, which function is amazing? Made me master this. Yeah, Ultimate, I think you're pretty much good on it, man. You're good to go. Can you do another question? Andy, I will be doing another question. Okay, so question 11, as I said to you guys, I'm going to throw a curveball in this one, so just bear with me. I know you guys are pretty much, if you've been attending the whole tutorial, you're pretty much sorted with fractions at the moment. Like, I mean, the worst case scenario for this question is, you know, for this one, you might get something that looks like this, where you could get actually, let's try this one here. I'm actually going to give you guys about 30 seconds just to get started on this because there's one more question. Like I always have this, what do you call it? Like this weird instinct that kicks in like a few weeks, like a week before the exams. What I might show you guys is a combination question after this with inequalities and quadratics, just as a final excellence question. But I can tell you what, as I said, you guys should be able to do it. Yeah, Billy, not Billy, sorry, Ultimate. Yeah, you can do that, man. That's pretty clever too. You can do that. Of course you can. And I'm betting a lot of people have actually went minus 3x over 1 and try to combine it as a fraction. No worries, you're welcome, Nano. See you later, man. I'll start the level 2 streams after the level 1s are finished. Yeah, maybe I should have actually put 2x minus 3 over a number. That would have messed you guys. That's all right. Anyway, let's do that. I think this question is actually pretty easy. Because you guys would have just done this. 2x minus 3 plus 3x. So you're going to get 5x minus 3. And then you got 3x plus 1 is less than or equal to 4 times 5x minus 3, and then you got 3x plus 1 less than or equal to 20x minus 12. Yeah, that was really pretty simple. Now, man, I thought I had you guys there, but it's okay. It's all right. So you got 3x minus 20x less than or equal to negative 12 minus 1. So what you get is negative 17x less than or equal to negative 13, and x is negative 13 over negative 17. And of course you got to change that sign because you're dividing by a negative number. And then you got x is greater than or equal to 13 over 17. Yeah, that was too simple for you guys. Okay, wait. Let me see if I can get you another one. I might have to actually go to question 13 just to mess around with you guys. Actually, no, I'm going to give you guys this last question, all right? Because I'm looking at the time. It's like 10 o'clock right now, and I know we're going to be done. This is the last question, I promise. So what we'll do is something like this. And I did see this in one of the exam papers, so that's why I want to actually give this. Is this going to work? I hope it's going to work, guys. Now, let's just leave it like that. I want you guys to write this as a single fraction first. And try this as a single fraction first, and then I'll come up with that other question for question 13. Because I have the question in my mind, but I just don't know if it's going to work out. Okay, I hope you guys, well, it does actually work out. So nothing much. Hang on, let's go back to the stream just to catch up. So the only thing I'm going to add to this question right now, don't worry about it. I know you might have actually simplified this. Oh no, it's fine. I'll just do this part first. So nothing changes in this question apart from what you've done so far. The only thing that actually changes is that now you got to actually multiply by x plus, like you got to make the denominators the same. So here I've actually got x plus 1 and x plus 2. So that means I need the denominators to be x plus 1 and x plus 2. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply the denominator here by x plus 2 and also the numerator by x plus 2. And on the other side, I'm going to multiply by x plus 1 and the numerator by x plus 1. So when I do this, I'm going to get 2 times x plus 2 plus 3 times x plus 1, and the whole thing is divided by x plus 1 and x plus 2. So expanding this, I'm going to get 2x plus 4, and then I've got 3x times and 3, so I've got 3x plus 3, and the whole thing is divided by x plus 1, x plus 2. So my final answer is going to be 5x plus 7 over x plus 1 and x plus 2. Did you guys get that? Awesome. Now, yes, that was easy, but I'm going to extend this question right now, and I'm going to call it 12b, because you guys have already done one part of it, and they could ask a question like this. I'm not sure because it is at level 2, but trust me, if you can do this question, you are pretty much comfortable with dealing with fractions. And yeah, it's fine to expand at the bottom, or you can leave it as that. But I'm going to do 12b right now. So 12b, the only difference I'm going to do is this. I'm going to put down 2 I'm going to put equals to 2. That's all the difference. Now, Tao, you don't need to expand the brackets. You can leave it as it is. But the reason I'm actually doing 12b at the moment is because if you look at 12, all I've done is I've just said write as a single fraction. So we already know what the answer is, and I'm going to give you guys a clue. The clue is this. We've already figured out that first part, right, from question 12, which this entire part now is equal to 5x plus 7 over x plus 1 multiplied by x plus 2, and now this is equal to 2. So what we need to do is we actually need to solve this. 1 hour. The MCAT is 1 hour. Grumple, tomorrow is Friday, man. Come on. Okay, so this is where it actually helps expanding the denominator, because you can actually expand this as x squared plus 2x plus 1x plus 2 equals to 2. One kid. Yes, sorry Greenland, because I got a kid that goes to sleep at 8:30, so, and then yeah, a few more cleaning up around the house, and then I can only do it 9 o'clock when everyone's gone to bed. That's just my story of my life, man. But anyway, let's finish this question so you guys can actually go to bed. So we got 5x plus 7, x squared plus 3x plus 2 equals to 2. Now, the reason I actually gave you guys this question is because what you're going to end up getting is you don't have a linear equation. All this time you've been getting nice linear equations, but in this one, you're actually going to end up with a quadratic equation. Because that x squared plus 3x plus 2 is going to be coming to the right-hand side. Which means we're going to get 5x plus 7 equals 2 times x squared, which is 2x squared, 2 times 3x, which is 6x, 2 times 2 is 4. So at this point, we're going to rearrange everything. So we're going to get 2x squared plus 6x plus 4. And we're going to do minus 5x minus 7. So we're going to end up with 2x squared plus x minus 3. So now we've got a quadratic, and this is just like, we just got to factorize this quadratic. So, and I know that you guys all have different ways of doing this, and that's absolutely fine. But the way I kind of work it out is 2 times minus 3 is negative 6. So basically I'm looking for two numbers that multiply to negative 6 and add up to plus 1. So in this case, it's going to be 3 and negative 2. And so what I got to do right now is change that 1x into 3x and negative 2x. So doing this, I'm going to get 2x squared plus 3x minus 2x minus 3. And then I've got to factorize this separately. So I'm going to get x as my first factor, which is going to be 2x plus 3. And then for this minus 2x minus 3, I have negative 1 as a common factor. And I'm going to get 2x plus 3. So basically what I'm trying to do is make sure that I end up with this bracket and this bracket as the same thing. So we can rewrite this as 0 equals x minus 1 times 2x plus 3. So just remember, the x goes here, negative 1 goes here. And so finally, we can write this as x minus 1 equals to 0, or 2x plus 3 equals to 0. So we can say x is equal to 1, or 2x equals minus 3, and then x is equal to minus 3 divided by positive 2. Siggy, it doesn't matter which one you put it, man. It'll still work out the same way. Because look, I'm just going to show you here, kind of sidetrack. So if I actually do 0 equals 2x squared minus 2x plus 3x minus 3, And what happens is, that's the beauty of it. It doesn't matter because you're still going to end up with the same answer. Because here you've got 2x as a common factor. So that's going to become x minus 1. And then for the right hand side, you've got 3 as a common factor. So 3x minus 1. And then basically what you've done now is you've got x minus 1 as a common factor. So x minus 1 times 2x plus 3. So 2x there, 3 there. So yes, Sarah, you got that answer a long time ago. Well done. Do you know that? Yeah, order doesn't matter. Thank you, guys. Nah, Andy, man, I know people are trying to get to sleep, man. I think that's basically it, guys. That's why I wanted to save this last question here, because you kind of needed to know how to do all the fraction stuff. Once you know how to do the fraction stuff, this last question is definitely an excellence question. It's like a hands down excellence question. So yep, so that's basically it, guys, for this tutorial. I know we went like 10 minutes over. I do apologize, but yeah, that's it. So I'll hang around for a few minutes. If people got any questions, no worries, you're welcome. Get some sleep. And I think I'm going to be doing one on Sunday for sure, the tutorial, Sunday and Monday. I'm just tossing up whether I actually do one on Saturday or Tap. If you want to send a question, send it to my Facebook page. Aliana, I started playing it yesterday and I suck at that game. No, you guys are welcome, man. No worries. Muhammad, as much as I would love to do, man, when you're married with a 2-year-old kid, it ain't possible. No worries, Andy. You're welcome, man. There are some simultaneous equations in the playlist, in the MCAT playlist. So have a look at that. No worries, Grumple. Kimberly, I think that's why my wife actually lets me do this, because normally she's like, let's go watch some TV. So she knows that, she understands that people are stressed about this. Sunday, Monday for sure, Grumple. Nah, Andy, man, you're doing the hard work, man. I think you guys got to give credit to yours as well. Meliodas, don't worry, in about half an hour, I think the tutorial will be up on the main channel. Nah, Tap, you gotta make sure you put that inequality sign, man. Otherwise, you won't get the mark. I know that inequalities, you follow the same inequations, you follow the same rules as equals, but it's really important that when you finish, you put the sign in. Otherwise, you won't get the mark. Ultimate, what I would say is with shapes, just make sure you do a lot of just basic revision on like rectangles and triangles and things like that. I think I've got a student that sent me a question on this. Like, I'm going to do this video next up. So this question here, he actually sent me, which was triangle with like quadratic mixed in it. No worries, Oliver. Yeah, what's the topic you want to look at, Mohammed? Because I like doing like one topic, because then I can actually cover like a lot of things. Tau, it depends on the question, Tau. So it depends where that direction actually goes through. Ultimate, it's actually not too bad. Like once you watch the video tomorrow, trust me, it'll make a lot more sense. Now that you've actually done fractions, it will make so much more sense. Yeah, with Sarah, with proofs, the issue is that, like, see, a lot of questions, theoretically, I'm not allowed to do certain questions. So what I mean by that is that, like, because I'm a how do I say this without trying to get into trouble? Basically, with questions, like, I can do the NZQA questions because they're publicly available. So anything that's available publicly, I can do it without getting into trouble, if that makes some sense. But the other questions, I can't actually do it because of copyright issues. So I guess that's why I'm asking you guys to send me questions, because when you send me questions, I don't really know where they're coming from. So it's easy for me to just kind of like just work through and just do it. Billy, go check the playlist, mate. The MCAT playlist. There's heaps of questions, word questions there. There's like 127 videos there, man. Like, next tutorial is on Sunday, guys. Yes, Ultimate, you can send some questions on messengers. As you can see, these are all my viewer questions. This one I haven't done yet. So at the moment, I've only got one left over to do. Sir Timo, no, I don't do probability because I think I'm not the best person to explain that. I mean, I can explain some things, but like, that's not my specialty. I'm not, Andy. Trust me, I'm not, man. All right, guys, any other final questions before I log out for the day? Do you do level? What do you mean by Sigo? Sigi, I don't understand that. Quadratics. What did I actually do for my tutorial yesterday? Like the last time? Nah, man, we did quadratics before. The last tutorial was on quadratics, so those were all the questions that we did for quadratics on, when was this? This was on Tuesday. So these are all quadratics. So I think I'm going back to, we'll be going back to exponentials, I think. Yeah, going back to more exponentials. What do you mean by level 2, Sigi? Like, you mean live streams or questions? Tap, I'm not going to be doing tutorials on tables till like way into after October, man. Grandpa, doesn't really matter, man. I think I respond to pretty much everything at the moment because I'm just doing this to help out people. Yep. So can you do me a favor, Ultimate? Just send me that question. Send me that. I'll actually hang on. I'll just copy that question. What do we got? Ultimate B. Okay, you can just be UB for now. Insert equation. I think Ultimate, you're talking about this question, yeah? Siggy, yes, I will be doing some calculus and algebra live streams later on, man. Mohammed, I'm going to be honest with you, man. Tables, equations, and graphs is just the most painful paper that I've actually seen last year. I mean, it took me like an hour and 45 minutes just to go through the paper with, I honestly, if I can be honest with you guys, I actually feel sorry for you guys. It's just been like horrible every year. I'm telling you guys, seriously, level 2 algebra and calculus is so much more easier than level 1 MCAT and level 1 tables. I guarantee that to you. Oh, yep. So ultimate, if you can send me part B. Oh, yeah. Okay, sweet. Sorry, I got that. What are you talking about, Eliana? Are you talking about now or later? What the hell happened here? There we go. I think I got it sorted. So it's a good idea to know basic. Yes, Sarah, definitely yes. It's a very good idea to know basic formulas for area of circle, triangle, cuboid. Is calculus harder than physics? No, Tap. I think calculus is a lot more workable now, if possible. Yeah, actually, ultimate. It's fine, mate. I think I've got the question. Meliodas, no, it's just I don't know why they do it like this. That's why we at our school we actually stopped doing the MCAT exam, because we just found it like it was almost like they just wanted to get trickier and trickier. But mind you, it's going to change in a few years anyway, because there's a new, what do you call it then, when the new standards come through, it's going to change. All right, guys, that's basically it from me. I will catch you guys on, when is it? Sunday, next tutorial. But yeah, I might try and see. I know there's some people wanting to come at 8:30, but that all depends on when my kid actually goes to sleep. And right now he is not going to sleep as at 8:30. So good. So I will stop the stream, but I'll hang around for a few more minutes if you guys are still hanging around here. If I can figure out, I struggle with trying to stop this every time.